So we're here again with Pam talking about vibrational and sound healing therapies. And so we're going to get an opportunity to hear some of her beautiful singing bowls. But before we do that, I want you to make sure to hit that subscribe button below so that you never miss an episode of the show Feng Shui It. And you can also check us out at facebook.com/FengShuiItV. So let's get started, Pam. Let's go back. Part 2, sound healing.
Yes.
Now, I wanted you to talk about this because you have some amazing instruments in your office. I mean, I literally fell in love with these singing bowls when I walked in. The feeling that it gives that space, it's as though they're alive. And that sounds really strange, and it probably sounds really strange to the audience, me saying these bowls are alive. No, I'm not a woo-woo, you know, the bowls are talking to me, but they might. But the energy that they give off, I mean, it's really intense, and probably due to just the vibration of them. So let's start off talking about, in the beginning, what is sound and vibrational healing?
That's a good question. And it really begins with the recognition that everything is energy. And so if everything is energy, then that energy vibrates. And vibration creates sound.
Right.
So everything has sound. We think about when we even say the universe, we're talking about one song, one sound that carries throughout everything that has ever been created. When you say the bowls have personality or seem like they're alive, I think that's part of it. It's just part of being able to recognize this energy and vibration and the sound that comes from each of the uniquely different bowls.
Right, right. And that's something interesting, especially with me doing Feng Shui, is that, you know, trying to get our clients to understand that everything has energy. And that's a pretty difficult concept for most people to kind of grab, is that even this solid table, this beautiful Feng Shui mug has energy. No plug there, right? But it has energy, and it's emitting that energy, and it's reacting to our bodies are reacting to it. And so with that said, what conditions can we treat with these various singing bowls and your beautiful gong? Because she has a gong there too, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful, very relaxing to do gong therapy. But what type of conditions can we really work with the singing bowls?
I can't think of any condition you could not work with.
Right.
Which is also the most wonderful thing about them, and that you can use them with babies in utero as well as infants and older adults.
Right. There's no limitations to being able to use these.
Yes.
What is the difference between the gong, the Tibetan singing bowls, and the crystal quartz singing bowls? Because I recently had someone to ask me a question about, why do you have all these different types of singing bowls, and do they do something different? Do they treat something different? So I'm going to let you answer. I'm going to pass that question to you and let you answer that question. What's the difference between all of these instruments?
Well, first I have to tell you, I am not a musician. So I do not have a theory to explain the difference in instruments.
Sure.
But what's different to me is just the sound that they create. And each one, depending on the material they're made out of, is going to have a uniquely different sound. And that's why I brought 2 samples with me today. So one is quartz crystal, and the other is made out of 7 metals.
Okay, so let's hear the 7 metals, because actually, you know what? Let's start with the crystal quartz.
Okay.
Because this is going to be kind of more of what I think people are going to expect to hear in the sound. And I think they're going to be surprisingly shocked with the 7 metals. So let's start with the crystal quartz.
This is actually made from rose quartz.
Pam, that was beautiful. I mean, it was so relaxing to hear that sound. It just made you want to kind of kick back and relax and just take a breather, you know, for the rest of the afternoon.
Yes.
It's just the sound of that is absolutely beautiful. Now, in contrast, the 7 metal is going to sound very different. I think our audience is going to be surprised by how that sounds. So let's get you to play this one, and then we'll talk about it. Now that is amazing, because the tone of that is it's a much deeper, richer tone. It feels like it kind of goes in deeper. Yes. But it's quieter. I mean, you actually at the end have to kind of really be tuned into it in order to hear it. But the waves are like they're drawing you into it. And so one of the interesting things you showed me about this bowl in your office is that it can be used in other ways than just by striking it. Pam, before I get you to demonstrate how to use these singing bowls, we're going to go over to some footage that we took in your office, all right? So you guys check this out. It's absolutely amazing.
Upon entering Pam's office, you immediately know you are entering a zone of healing. Tibetan singing bowls not only affect us physically, but they also have a far-reaching implication that occurs on both an emotional and a spiritual level. Since all matter is energy vibrating at different rates, by altering the rate of vibration, we can change the structure of matter. Singing bowls work by restoring and optimizing the flow of energy in the various parts of the body where energy flow may be hindered or that part of the body is not vibrating at a healthy frequency. By placing the bowls throughout the body, Pam is able to gently strike the bowls and assist the body into slowly returning back to a state of normalcy. And as we know, when the human body is able to achieve and maintain balance, spontaneous healing can naturally occur.
How do people describe how they feel after they've done these therapies, even with the gong? How do they describe themselves?
Well, I appreciate you saying what you did, because sound does travel in waves. So it's important to realize that. And then the interesting thing is that we actually feel that in our body. These particular bowls have different effects, and that the metal bowl is created so that the sound frequency, the vibration of the bowl, actually goes deeper into the base of it so that you can feel the vibration in your body. The crystal bowl has a sensation of the sound actually coming out. So it's not created to go into the body. And that's why we use the metal bowls on the body. First of all, it's a lot safer. Mm-hmm. And secondly, because they draw that frequency and vibration in. And I cannot help but take a deep breath when I play the bowls.
Right.
I have that immediate response to it.
Sure.
And I think most people do.
Right.
It's that sense of just letting go. The sound of a bowl, anyway, calls our attention. So the immediate effect of it is to bring the mind into a focus rather than running around in its thoughts and what we call monkey brain.
Right.
It brings everything to an acute focus. So immediately the body stills and we're prepared to listen to what's next. But in that deeper listening, we also take in that vibration and the intention behind the sound. So intention is really key to how you experience them.
Absolutely. And that kind of brings us into our next question is, when we're using this type of therapy, because we're now listening and being open, should we incorporate that with another therapy following this type of sound or vibrational therapy, or is it something that we use independently, or both?
I really use them for both. Sometimes if I'm doing cranial sacral work, for example, and people are just having a hard time to relax, using the bowls will help them to do that because of the physiological response to bring the body into relaxation.
Gotcha.
So I would frequently use them during a session. However, you can also experience simply a sound massage, which is a session only feeling the effects of the bowls and the sound within the body.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's cool. I've never heard of that. That's really shocking to me. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. And what are the effects of that? I mean, what kind of experience is that? I mean, because I know just from feeling it on my head, I mean, it's intense and it goes deep. I mean, it's not just like a slight vibration. I mean, it's really going down deep, deeper than my bones. I mean,
Well, you think about water is an excellent conductor of sound, and so we're 70% fluid. So fluid goes to the bone, fluid carries through the bones. Of course, it's going to resonate in a deeper layer in the body because it's traveling in through the fluid of the body.
got you. Okay. So, what ages benefit from sound therapy? Because I would imagine this would be a pretty cool therapy for a child. I mean, as an adult, I certainly enjoyed it, but I could imagine that my son would have a pretty good time with experiencing this and not even really know that he's getting some sort of therapy.
Exactly. I really love watching the way children respond when they come in for a session with craniosacral or even just sound. So sometimes I work with tuning forks, and those go on acupuncture points directly on the body, and children will actually pick up the fork and treat themselves.
Really?
Yes, so it's fascinating watching what they already know how to do.
Right.
But in terms of therapy, I've also used the bowl to work with children who've had brain injuries from birth. And so the amazing thing with that is watching how they are able to respond because of the attention that is drawn to them from hearing not just the sound, but the vibration as well.
Got you.
And we've done this work in clinic and working with people with post-traumatic stress and children.
Got you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. Is there training or certifications in order to become a sound therapist?
There's nothing that I would say is as much training as you would expect a medical doctor to receive, that on that level. However, there are a lot of schools that do teach in-depth education and application of using sound. So I studied with Jonathan Goldman. I've also studied with a system called Acutonics, and more recently with Vibrational Sound Association. And so each one of those brings their own sphere of influence into the work that they teach. But I believe the broader range of information we have, the more tools in the toolbox to really help people.
Right, absolutely. Pam, thank you so much for coming and joining us today to talk with us about vibrational and sound therapy. And if you would like information on how to contact Pam, you can check it out in the description right here below. You can just click it. You don't even have to type it. Or you can go to our website at FengShuiItIvyEllerby.com, and you can find out how to contact her, all right? So stay tuned, because up next is your educational piece about Tibetan singing bowls.